In the next 2 days, leftists in Alabama are trying to sneak a radical communist revolutionary into the general election and hope that you don't notice. They're disguising him as a standard issue Democrat until he's in office and it's too late to get rid of him. But the public pen has uncovered messages that Jeff Ramsey sent and what he thought was a private Discord server, revealing who he really is. And I've looked through his entire website, I've looked through his social media presence, I've looked through his presence in debates. He does not let this slip anywhere else. Candidate Jeff Ramsey is a Democrat running for the first seat of the Public Service Commission in Alabama. The Public Service Commission is in hot water right now, no pun intended, because Alabamians deal with some of the most expensive utilities in the nation, particularly when it comes to our power. We pay the third highest in the country, I believe. And so a lot of people are itching for change on that board, and there are a lot of Republicans and Democrats gunning for those seats. The Democrats have presented 3 candidates in their primary. One of them is named Jeff Ramsey. He's from Mobile Bay, Alabama. On his website, he presents himself as a normal guy. He says he's got blue-collar values. He knows the importance of trust and accountability. He says, I want folks to know that I'm born and raised in Alabama. And I'm a gun-toting fella, and I do all the things that folks in Alabama do. I just believe that the government should work for the people instead of against them. Boy, what a normal guy to run as a Democrat. Clean cut in his suit and everything. Well, guess what Jeff Ramsey says about himself when he's introducing himself in the Alabama Progress Discord server to whom he thinks is a crowd of allies even more radical than he. He says, I'm Jeff Ramsey, organizing member of Mobile Bay, Democratic Socialists of America, running for the PSC board as a Democrat. Few things about me. We need a moneyless society, liberation of the working class above all else. Revolution is essential to break free from the oppressors of capitalism. Later on he says, wage labor is oppression. Paying for running water is oppression. He self-describes as a commie, and I quote. And then finally later on he says, a lofty goal of mine is to help bring in the Third Republic of the United States, which I hope we will call the People's Republic. What, like China? Oh my goodness. He discusses why he's running for office as a Democrat, because his policies are clearly much farther left than the standard Democrat primary. And he says he wants to use it as a weapon against itself. He's trying to work from the inside to show political revolution. He says, quote, the working class seizing the Democratic Party is our way to enact policies that get rid of terrible policies. What he's trying to do is what has been happening broadly across the decades with Marxist ideas and the Democratic Party and the liberal movement. The Marxists have viewed the liberal movement in the United States as an ideal corpse to possess, to wield their ideas on the broader West. This is something they talk about in political theory all the time. Some people believe it, some people don't. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's happening today because a real-life member of the Democratic Socialists of America is telling you that he and his buddies have a goal of moving into the local Democrat Party, taking over, and using that momentum to create the change that they want to see. It's happening in front of your eyes. He says, by the way, that he's not the only race that this is happening in. He says that he and other socialists in the DSA club are helping in multiple different races across the state. He says this will pay off bigger in the future. He says, quote, we are learning how to infiltrate the system for revolution. Scary stuff, especially when you consider that Lenin and Marx, who he invokes at different parts of his chat, have given details on what this revolution would look like. And it adds new color to the fact that one of DSA's most popular events is when they go to a shooting range and practice shooting. So, that's interesting. When he's asked about his goals, how he envisions the future going ideally, he says his 5-year goal is, quote, fielding candidates that can enact policies to raise social consciousness to help working class folks join in revolutionary politics. And when he's asked, well, what kind of revolutionary politics? He clarifies for us. He says, discussion about seizing the means of production, nationalization of industries, universal basic income, ending private ownership through government means. This guy's going for the gold star. He's trying to collect every single terrible idea you could possibly collect from all of history. But the scary thing is, he's not public with this. He keeps this stuff hidden. This is only, I've looked extensively online for language like this on his TikTok page, on his social media, on his website. Nothing along these lines. The most communist thing he says on his website is just language about workers' rights. He wants to help people to afford things, and that's very boilerplate language that's used across all the parties and across the ideologies. He's very much hiding the ball. And what's really bad about this is that a lot of the things that he wants to do directly touch the job he's trying to get. Do you notice that? The Alabama Public Services Commission deals with the relationship between the privately owned utilities, their customers who are the citizens, and the government. That is the key dynamic that a socialist spends his every waking moment thinking about, right? It's not as if this guy's running to be the head of the library district, which would be bad enough, I'm sure. This could be quite bad if he were to get in. He says that we need revolution. And why is he so obsessed with getting people to think revolutionarily? He says we need revolution because he has no interest in going back to pre-Trump America. After all, pre-Trump America put Trump in office. He wants to stop that. And he says voting will never end oppression. He then talks about getting rid of voting. Now, it's not clear exactly what his political philosophy is. I don't know that that's a typical tenet of the Democratic Socialists of America, but it seems to be a tenet of his imagination. He says that, ironically, getting rid of voting will take your vote, but he says it's okay to use the system from the inside for a while, and he invokes the Russian Revolution, in which he says you, quote, have to make compromises to get the ball closer to your side of the court. This is how he justifies running for an office within a system that he detests. It's how he justifies voting within a system that he wants to burn to the ground. And speaking of burning it all down, he makes it very clear that he doesn't want that kind of language to be coming across on his public social media. Remember, he's still trying to come across as a pretty normal centrist Democrat and not the reincarnation of Karl Marx. So here in the Discord, he's posting a link to a TikTok he made where he's calling his listeners to do some basic political grassroots activism. He says, call your senators, call your representatives, write some letters, make some phone calls. I forget what exactly the issue was he was talking about, but it was something recent in Alabama state politics. And he says, I made a madhouse of videos this morning. He says it's hard to include everything, not get pissed off, stay on topic, skirt the topic so it doesn't come across as burn down the system and build socialism. So this to me is as clear as it gets, this attitude that he has of, I'm going to show the people one thing publicly. Inside, I'm doing my best to hide what I truly believe. Isn't that ironic? Considering at the very top of the video, we talk about what he says on his website, where he wants trust and accountability in government. He sees the need for transparency, is what he said in the debate. That's always the way it is with these socialist types, isn't it? It's always rules for you, but not for them. It's always transparency and accountability for you, but not for them. No, they get to have a nice cloud of obfuscation to hide all their motives. It's always bread lines for you. It's banquets for them. It's always, you get to pull a cart through the mud while you make bricks for me, and he gets to ride in a Rolls Royce. This is the way communists and socialists have been all around the world. Look at North Korea, right? Kim Jong-un is as fat as it gets. He's living like a fat cat in his palace while the people are starving in the fields. Look at China, Xi Jinping. He's living similarly, and his people are in various states of disrepair. Their economy's trash. Don't think it would be any different here if socialism or communism actually won out. Jeff Ramsey is a dangerous, far-left, radical communist revolutionary, and he needs to be stopped. May 19th is the day of the primary election here in Alabama. If you're a Republican, I hope you'll go to the polls and vote for the person you think will best represent you for PSC Seat 1. That candidate, whoever wins, will face off against whoever the Democrat nominee is come Election Day. And I certainly hope that even more important than the primary, on Election Day, you get out, whether your guy won or not. I know that's certainly what I'm going to do. Go to those polls and put that Democrat back where he belongs. And it very well may end up being Jeff Ramsey who you're running against. It may very well be that you're running up against one of the other Democrats. Either way, the whole party is corrupted from the inside by socialist ideologies. Jeff Ramsey, perfect example of that. So be sure, get out and vote on the 19th, then get out and vote on Election Day, and be sure that we can fix the problems we have in the Public Service Commission without electing a communist.